You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Erika Riggs, partner at Disability Law Group in Troy, Michigan. How are you, Erika?
I am doing well this evening. How are you today?
Good. Great to see you. Thanks for coming out and spending some time with us.
Thanks for inviting me. I've been watching all of the wonderful, marketing ideas and the podcast. It's been great, and I'm honored to be here.
Oh, that's so nice. Hey, we took a look at your website, and it looks amazing, and everything, you're doing, like some of the videos, you have an incredible story, so it's one that we have to share. So I'm just curious, are you a Michigan native?
I am born and raised. Yeah.
What part?
Southeast Detroit area.
Okay.
So right. Wayne County, Macomb County, Oakland
Very
County
good.
area.
That's awesome. So at what point did you know you wanted to go to law school?
Honestly, for a very long time, at the risk of sounding cheesy, I just knew that I wanted to help people. And,
okay.
There were no lawyers in my family. I didn't have like this network of attorneys or legal professionals.
Right.
I didn't have, someone grooming me to become an attorney. But I feel that what I did have was a strong family that, with my upbringing, they were going to support me no matter what I did, as long as I loved what I do. That was
really?
Always enough. My
amazing.
Father taught my, thank you.
That's that's like the best part of like a family, to be like, just as supportive with whatever it's going to take to help you like complete what it is that you seek. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think for the timing for me, really, it was in middle school. I always say my father taught my sisters and I. He had 3 girls, and from a very young age, he taught us, resilience and grit, and just showed us never to depend on a man, never to depend on anyone for your happiness. But I really think the timing was like middle school, high school. If I had to trace it back, it just became pretty obvious that I was good at debate, and I love to write. And I think that I probably knew I was going to be an attorney around that time frame, and I think my parents knew that about me as well.
Really? So, and you went to Wayne State undergrad. That's in Detroit, I believe, like around the Detroit area, and then you went to the law school. So, like, how did that work out? You went from like the undergrad to the law school. You wanted to stay there, and that's awesome.
I loved everything about it. It was local for me. It was about a 15-minute drive from my parents' house, and it was nice to be local, to come home, to be with my family. It's always been very important to me, and I just love the community there. In the heart of the city, in Detroit, it was just there's a lot to do, lots of great restaurants, and just great people. Being around the people. The school is amazing. The university, Wayne State University Law School, is really known for their clinics and like the hands-on experience you get there. So I think that was a big drawing factor for me.
That's awesome. And, I really do think there's something to be said for staying where you like grew up and like helping people, helping the citizens of like the Detroit area, especially with, you do social security disability, or you do disability law. So I think like there's something huge to be said about that. I used to think I would go back to my hometown of Portland, Maine, and hang a shingle and like be like the town lawyer and just help people with their problems, so I think that's super cool that you did that.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, with disability law, we specialize in social security and veterans disability, and it really has turned into, a national practice, especially in the wake of COVID and everything. It's turned into a national virtual practice, and that's helped us grow in a lot of ways. I'm sure we'll cover that. But I love that we're still local. It's great for our community.
Yeah, and I want to make another point about Erika helping people. I mean, I think that that's incredible. I think a lot of people, do things for themselves, but, you were in law school at Wayne State and you were on the law review, right? But the thing that kind of caught my eye that I thought was really cool, like as a perspective for somebody who I work, I have a quasi government job, in like my, my real thing. But anyway, so the project 313 project, excuse me. So like scholarships for at-risk youth, like you did that in law school while on law review. Like how did you swing that, and like what was that? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Honestly, Detroit and the community was a major part of that. This was definitely nothing that I would have envisioned would have turned into what it was, or that we would have actually incorporated while we were in law school, into a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. And it just sort of it happened in part too because of the clinics, because of the learning environment, all the students, the hands-on, under the guidance of the professors, helping people in a wide range of areas, whether it be disability or immigration. And
Right.
and for the 313 project, we had the help of the students at the small business clinic at Wayne State Law School. They actually came to us as we were graduating and we're getting ready to study for the bar exam. And they said, well, what are you going to do when you guys graduate? You created this wonderful organization, this community here that helps Detroit in so many ways. What's going to happen when you leave? And that's where sort of the idea was born to start this nonprofit and build it into something even more with the community.
That's really cool. Congrats on doing that. That's really awesome. So, like, do you have any advice? What advice would you give to a law student, to get the most out of law school? And I ask you that because you did clinics, you did law review, you assisted with a nonprofit, and I could have probably used the advice that I feel like you're about to give. So, um,
I followed this advice, but at the time I did not know how impactful it would be. But I definitely feel that the diverse experience that I received in law school, whether it be with the clinics that initially drew me to staying at Wayne State University Law School, and getting more of that hands-on, out of the classroom type experience. But also I clerked at the immigration court and had
yeah,
experience in writing decisions and working with judges and sort of in that field. And then also helping nonprofits and volunteer work, and just a really diverse map of, experience that really helped me understand what I really wanted to do. Because even though I knew I wanted to help people and I knew I was going to do something helping, at risk and vulnerable populations, I didn't
amazing.
necessarily know, even in law school, what type of law I would specialize in. So that definitely helped me.
That's awesome. So when did you know? And I think it was, I'm guessing you launched your firm beginning of 2019. So
Yes.
you had to been, it had to be on your radar for a little while, and then like there was COVID. So like, how did you know when it was time to launch your own firm?
That is a great question. It feels like it was just yesterday, and we're approaching onto what will be our fourth year, and it's just
Wow.
amazing how that happened. But I work with my partners who also specialize in Social Security and veterans disability benefits, and it was always a really strong connection with us. We trusted each other. We had full faith in, of course, our legal abilities, but also like our heart, our
Yeah.
compassion. So we
Right.
always really bonded that way. We would tend to volunteer together a lot. And we just decided that we wanted to help our clients in the way that we knew, they deserved. And so that's why we decided to go off on our own after a lot of experience and much thought. We all
Right.
had, families and very young children at the time. But we just knew that, we wanted to sort of, start our own thing and help our clients the best way that we could.
And who did you start it with? Colleagues that you knew?
Yeah, Mandy Kelly and Randall Mansour. So
Okay.
Randall and I actually went to law school together, and Mandy was an attorney that I worked with at our old firm as well.
Very good. So, did COVID play a role in any of that?
It did very much so. Not so much in starting the firm, but in how we sort of took off and grew the firm, and just really had to hone in on our area of specialty and marketing ourselves and what's going to happen now that the courts are closed down. And we had not only a family to support, but we have a team. We have employees that rely on us, and we have to support. We're responsible for, making sure that they're taken care of and their families. So when COVID hit, we already, before the lockdown, and really before, People were working remote. We had already ordered laptops for our staff. We'd sent
Yep.
them home. We wanted them to be safe. That was really important to us. Everybody
Sure.
had their own things they were dealing with. And so one of the things I think that we did really well early on was building systems.
Okay.
In terms of like our CRM, our client database, and communicating internally with each other. So it was pretty smooth and pretty seamless for us in that transition, which I think really allowed us to grow, especially with COVID and handling disability claims where, your clients and more people may depend on you and may need you for help navigating the disability process.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it changed you as an employer at all? Like with having your employees at home? Like, do you think it kind of like, made people a little more loose and like trustworthy and like, people just getting their jobs done and like,
Yeah.
do you think it was like a bonding sort of period in a way?
Absolutely. And we still to this day have employees who are and attorneys who are, fully remote or have a hybrid schedule for whatever reason. It just works better for them. They work better, more efficiently. They see it as a
Sure.
benefit. And if my staff sees it as a benefit and they can work effectively that way and help our clients that way, then I see it as a benefit.
Sure. No, that's great. So what advice do you have for somebody who is about to launch their own law firm or is thinking about it?
That is a great question. First and foremost, I'd say, you got this. Starting your own firm is certainly a risk, but so is remaining complacent or not following your dreams. If you feel a calling to be your own boss, to start your own firm and to help people, as I said, the way that you want that to look like, then don't be afraid of going off on your own. Just know that, it's not going to be perfect, but you really do need to commit yourself to the journey, whatever that looks like, to learning the law, learning the business, and ask for help. There's this wealth of knowledge and people to lean on in your community, many of whom have gone through some of the same struggles and have the same questions that you do. So don't be
Yeah,
afraid to ask for help.
I think that's great advice. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So why disability law? Like, tell us about, and specifically, I'm curious about your work with the veterans, like how you got involved with that, if it was a personal thing or whatnot.
I love this question because, as I said before, I did not truly know what area of law that I wanted to work in or that I would end up in disability law. In fact, in law school, they did not even offer any specific specific courses for veterans, veteran-related disabilities. So there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to learn that. For me, when I was in law school, working so much in the clinic space, working with uh, instructors that are themselves attorneys really motivated me to kind of like just explore other opportunities and
Yeah.
talk to other attorneys and get more involved. A lot of my community work, I would just network and speak with other attorneys and learn more about this area of law, and I think that's really helped tremendously. But in terms of veterans law, what I found is that there were not many attorneys or law firms that were helping veterans. For Social Security disability law firms, I find that there are many firms helping with that area of law. Maybe they're a general practice firm, maybe they specialize in it, but there are a lot of attorneys that handle Social Security disability claims. But for veterans law, I was having a really difficult time finding attorneys that would help my veterans to help them with their disability claims. So I decided that if we were going to branch out and do something else, and this was a perfect opportunity to hone in
Yeah.
on that niche and really help veterans in need.
That's awesome. So you saw an opportunity and you went for it. That's great. And you're helping people. That's nice work. So there, before we get into how your firm just really grew, I mean, it's an incredible thing, like to go to your website and, see the video and I actually got my next question from your video. So it was a quote that stuck with me. And it was, you haven't truly lived until you've done something for someone who can't repay you. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Tell us a little about that. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. That quote, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, I think that my mother, who's unfortunately no longer with us today, I'm not sure if you heard about any of that in my videos, but
Yeah.
if you would have asked her, she would have told you that I was the stubborn one, the independent one, but the one with a kind heart. I was going to stand up to the bully. and
Yeah.
give a voice to someone who needed it, no matter what it took. I always knew that I wanted to make a difference.
Mm.
Not quite sure what that would end up looking like, or realizing what a tremendous impact this work would end up having on people.
Mm.
But I quickly learned that through the law, I could master the art of what I loved and use my voice and my skills to help people in need.
Yeah, I hope everybody checks out your website. Incredible work, and it's a great video.
Thank you.
So share with us how you've been able to grow your firm so quickly. I mean, there was, I saw the video of you like knocking down a wall and like moving to like the next room over, and you really scaled. How
That
did
was a
that?
lot of fun, might I add, on a big stress relief, literally knocking
How
down
many
that wall.
takes did you have? Were they like, all right, Erica, hit it again? We didn't really get it there.
I might have had a few. I'll have to send you those outtakes
Oh,
probably
sweet. There are
later.
outtakes. I love it. All right, good.
But I honestly can contribute much of our growth to our brand. And what I mean by that is what we do and the reputation that we've built just by pouring into our community in different ways, because it's the right thing to do and it's a privilege to be able to do it. We've really built this reputation that we're so proud of. And by working hard and of course winning for our clients, we, really pride ourselves on making them feel heard and making them know how cared for that they are. It truly has set us apart, and it's allowed us to make a name for ourselves. So, as you've mentioned, we've been in business for just a few years, and I feel that this growth can really be attributed to earning the trust of our community through doing the work that we love. Word of mouth referrals and referrals from other attorneys and judges has really helped us scale. And
That's
I'm just so
great.
proud of this legacy that we're creating, that I feel that will outlast us. But marketing has also been a large source of our growth, and just really diversifying our marketing from your network to
Right,
ads, and then
right,
the type
right.
of ads, including Google and social media platforms and
Yeah,
things that they don't really teach you in law school. Um, but we try to be really intentional about sharing the good work that we do with our community and
good,
with our staff, so that
good.
they can see what we're really about, and the word just really spread in our community fast.
And let's not forget, you had like smoothie day, like all your employees were going like this. I just want to show off my coffee cup. So how do you like getting a name like disability law group? Like, do you have to go through the state to use like the actual term disability? I'm personally curious about that.
You don't, but you do need to make sure that there's no you know you're not using a name that's already existing. You're going
Okay,
through your state, Lara in our case, to make sure that um, that you're not infringing on any other rights. You
gotcha.
want to make sure you're
Okay.
going about it the right way. But yeah, we definitely were very fortunate in finding, I think, a pretty powerful name for the work that we do.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. It's great. So, how do you find like the balance between running a successful, growing law firm and your family life?
Well, it's an ever evolving act. It's not easy. Let's just get that out there.
Yeah.
And just tell it like it is. I really like the concept when I hear balance. I like the concept of integration, or just integrating your professional life with your family and your personal life. I don't mean, full integration, but just making sure that you're sharing pieces of what you do. I talk a lot about sharing it with the community and your team, but it's important that you share the work that you find so enjoyable and rewarding, even though it may sometimes be stressful. Share that with your family. The more you can share it, just helps them understand why you're so invested and why you care so much, and it really motivates them. Um, I have two boys. I've got a 7 and a 9-year old,
Yep.
and they used to ask me all the time, Mom, why do you have to go to work today? And I tell them time and
Huh.
time and again, I don't have to go to work today. I don't have to work this job, but I get to wake up and I
Nice.
get to help people, people who may otherwise not get any help, or may not get the results that they need or that they deserve. And so now I start to hear things more like, you got this, mama, or
That's
how many
nice.
people did you help today when I
Oh,
get
that's
home?
great.
So Yeah, I really
That's
love that.
great.
So I think that, integrating what you do is helpful, but then also making sure that you're carving out time to really pour into them and focus on them. Uninterrupted time, set your non-negotiables and be true to that.
Yep.
It helps make you feel more fulfilled in the work that you do and helps to fill your cup and rejuvenate you so that you can be at your best.
I love that. So setting boundaries basically.
Absolutely.
Love
It's so
that.
important.
Yeah, great. So I'm a big community guy. Like I'm trying, we're building this huge community. So like I know that disability law group is in the community big time. So like how like tell us about like your law firm and like what you're doing, and how it might be different from how other law firms are in their community.
I keep saying this, but I think this might be my favorite question yet, Ben.
I ask a lot of
Um,
questions. I mean, what can you say?
you're good at what you do, Ben.
That's so
Um,
nice. I mean, I've been waiting to hear that for so long. Okay, go ahead.
all right, all right. I digress. One of the things that I feel we do and just we're so proud of is how we give back and get involved with the community. It's so important.
So
It's
important.
important to building your brand. It's important to just giving back because we have the skill set that not everybody has. We have the ability to make such meaningful differences. And attorneys, I feel, can get so bogged down in the day to day. It's critically important that we're giving back in some ways. And so for us, one of the things that we do every single year. And we do try to do things monthly. We give back in different ways, but one of the big things we do is an annual free legal aid and resource fair. And so
Wow.
this is an event we put on in our community. It's completely free to the public. And we have our attorneys there, of course, to give free legal advice in Social Security and veterans disability benefits. But we also bring together other attorneys. So every year they love getting my phone call saying, "Hey, it's me again. I need you to volunteer. I need you to clear your
Yeah,
schedule this
great.
Friday morning." And so we bring them together and they're giving free legal advice. We ask the community, what kinds of things they might need help with that may be difficult to find an attorney to help them with, or one that they can't afford. And a lot of them might be criminal law, record expungement, PPOs, immigration, landlord tenant questions.
So they'll take a case, even if they can't satisfy it right there. They'll have the person go to their office, or
Yeah, they may
they'll
decide to have ongoing legal client relationships, or they may decide to just give some guidance of whatever issues that
Mhm.
they might have. It might be something as simple as directing them to the right place or the right resource. So it's sort of like a one-stop shop. And we have had people come and even talk to a few different attorneys to get some guidance on their legal questions. And then in addition to that, we have a kids craft corner. Our staff will be there, trained staff to help so that if single parents, might otherwise not be able to come out, they can do so and ensuring their privacy is met. And we also bring in community nonprofits and organizations that help people so that we can make it more comprehensive in scope. And so every year we do this in May. May is mental health appreciation, military appreciation and mental health awareness
Oh,
month. And so
love it.
we're mindful to include resources for veterans and for anyone struggling with mental health disorders.
It's awesome. We'd love to get in on some posts or something for that with lawyers.
Absolutely.
Totally. So before I forget, like you said earlier, you're like a national firm. I think it's because Social Security disability is federal. Is that correct?
Yes, that
So
is
are you
correct.
taking cases from other states?
Yes, we do. In fact, many of our clients live outside of Michigan. Most of them live in Michigan. But many of our clients, especially as we grow and the word gets out and people are Googling or looking for an attorney who specializes in disability, we are able to help them no matter where they live
And so
in
what
the
if you
US.
have an administrative hearing? Or you just go out there? Is that what happens?
Well, what we can do is if we have to go to a hearing, and many of our cases get resolved without even needing to have a
Okay.
hearing, which is
Okay.
just wonderful for the client because they don't have to wait even longer for the benefits that they need. But we're able to opt in to have phone hearings, video hearings. The court isn't even fully back to being in person at this point in
Mhm.
time. So having phone and video hearings actually helps to expedite the process for many people. So
Yeah,
they see
for
it as a
sure.
benefit.
That's awesome. I think like, COVID did some things like that that taught a little bit of efficiency. Obviously not good on the greater scale, but
Yeah.
So like what marketing tips do you have for any new law firm owners?
This may seem surprising to you, but the best marketing tip that I could give is to get involved in your community.
Mm,
Figure out your niche and what kind of organizations and events, programs that spark your interest. I find a lot that attorneys, even those that want to give back, don't know where to start, and then we hear the excuse of, I don't have time. Trust me, you have the time. You have to make the
you do.
time.
You do.
Um, it's your choice, and it's going to benefit you to create that time to give back, volunteer. It doesn't need to be something demanding like starting up your own free um, community event. I certainly didn't start that way myself all in one night. It happened with time. And, as the word got out and more people started hearing about it and getting interested in it, start with local board membership, talk with other attorneys about what they're doing, reach out to nonprofits, could be mental health facilities, it could be the Humane Society, it could be any number of things that you might be interested in, and
Yeah.
figure out, what they might need help with, how you could plug in and get involved. And then of course, diversifying your marketing efforts. I feel that's very important. So, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Lead generation, purchasing leads, that might work well for one type of firm and not another, even if they're in the same market, for a variety of reasons. But you just don't want to rely entirely on one marketing source, even if it's another attorney who provides a lot of referrals for you. You really want to just test different things and see what works best for you.
Right.
Um, if you're more of a writer than an outspoken person, then maybe you want to write, get some content out there that can help market what you're
Right.
doing
Do you
and
think
show.
social media is good? Do you like social media as a marketing sort of like I'm going to connect with people type of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's free for the most part, right? Even
It
creating
is.
a website is free. It can be free. And social professional platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, right? That might
Yeah.
not be your thing, but it's
Yeah.
free, and it's ways you can build your network. And so, especially if you're starting out as a new business owner, a law firm owner, you're starting your firm, it's never a bad idea to try to promote the work that you do and helping people on social and professional platforms like that and get the word out in the community.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. Social media is definitely a new frontier. Do you think lawyer to lawyer market networking is beneficial?
Yeah, I think it's maybe becoming a little bit more sort of tricky, and not
Okay.
as easy. And since COVID started, maybe
Okay.
things are still not maybe back to being in person, and maybe it's a little awkward to send messages, if you haven't seen the person in a while, or
Oh,
to
gotcha.
connect
All
with
right. Yeah,
somebody. But I do feel that lawyer to lawyer marketing and networking is critically important. Um, it's important as you learn, it's important as you grow, and it's important it helps to get the word out about the work that you're doing. A lot of attorneys might not know where to send their cases in your niche. And if you didn't, be a little vulnerable and get the word out there and reach out, then you may be leaving an untapped marketing source on the table, for somebody else.
for sure. Well, if you ever see anybody that we might know on Lawyer Stories and are connected with, and it looks like we might have a relationship with them, we're happy to do a warm intro for you. That would be our pleasure. That's what we do. That's the heart of
Yeah,
what we want to do. So we're totally open to that, no matter what state. I mean, we'll help you out.
I appreciate that so
I
much. I
don't
know
really
some.
I don't really think you need the help, but say it again. Sorry.
No, we can always use the extra help in getting the word out there.
Yeah.
Um, Especially as being a newer, sort of younger firm.
Yeah.
Um, it's important to always build upon those connections. And because, at least for us, we're just so confident in the work that we do. We know that we have helped so many people when we have,
Yeah.
I think we just hit 500 five-star reviews on Google. So we have a
Nice.
5-star rating on all social media platforms. And honestly, that could not have happened if we didn't build such a great team, like-minded team that really wants to give back, that cares about the community. It's so important to us to find those people and bring them on board to help our clients. But just, getting out there in the community, networking with other people, you can start any one of these things. It's free. It's just something that you
Yeah.
can't let the time get get away from you. You got to make sure that you're constantly getting yourself out there and promoting yourself.
I mean, and it must feel so good. I mean, you're like such a young lady, like you have like a tremendous practice going. You're growing by the day, as indicated on your, on your website and everything. And there's just so much ahead of you. And with that question, like, where do you see your firm in 5, 10 years? Like, what's the next step?
Honestly, doing more of the work that we love, helping people with disabilities navigate the Social Security and veterans disability process. It can be, not only complicated, but overwhelming, and you can go through it and the process can be long and you just feel alone. And even if there are a lot of other attorneys that handle this area of law, sticking with it, mastering it, making sure that we're continuing to build this team of like-minded individuals that really
Yeah.
care, so that we can support that growth and help those clients in the right way. That's where I see us going and heading in the next 5 years.
That's awesome. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with the Lawyer Stories community? Do you have any other any other tips or advice? We'll take anything we can get from Erika Riggs.
You are too kind, Ben. The only other thing I would probably add as far as attorneys thinking about starting their own firm, we talk a lot about the community and putting yourself out there and marketing tips, but I also think it's really important that you make the time to build systems, especially when you're starting off. I want to convey that the last thing you want is to create more work for yourselves and
Right.
just not know certain things about your business that can actually help or hinder your growth. It doesn't have to be elaborate systems or complicated, even at, especially at first, but start to document things like basic client information in a secure way, how
Yeah.
each client heard about you,
Right.
and how many clients you have. If you're spending money on marketing,
That's
what
interesting.
marketing avenues, how much you're spending. You have to start to
So,
measure and
so
get an
give me an
idea.
example of like a system. Like, how would you put that into a system?
Honestly, when you are starting out, your system can be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
Never worked with Excel or you're not familiar, there are plenty of free classes out there, YouTube tutorials, but the key is
Are
that
we
you just
talking like pivot tables and like the math like adding up and
us lawyers, we went to law school because we did not want anything to do with math,
okay,
right?
I didn't mean to interrupt you. So you're talking about so I asked you about systems. Give me an example and you said spreadsheets.
Yeah, I mean, it could be really simple. It doesn't have to be something, complicated or expensive where you're buying like CRMs or a database that will basically electronically and securely store your client's information, in a private and secure way. You can build up to that, but it's important that you're just documenting it, even if it does start with a basic Excel spreadsheet, because you're going to want to start to measure and get an idea about what might be working, so you know how to improve upon what you're doing. And so you're tracking your growth. You can better plan for what your needs might be, what your clients' needs might be, and have a website. Websites are free. And we talked about social professional platforms. There's so many of them, but they're free and they're ways that you can build your network and you can get the word out there in the community and to prospective clients, and referral sources about the work that you do.
So system could be you want to like check out the results that you get from something, or like you get a new client, you want to just put it in like the date, the time, where they're from, like all that sort of thing, and then you want to track it from start to finish. That could be a system, or
Absolutely. I mean, it can get as granular as different metrics that you have, different goals that you have for your firm. As you're growing, as you start to sign up and onboard new clients, you're going to need a team that will support them. As an attorney, especially when you're starting your own firm, it seems like you're doing everything.
yeah,
You're the intake person, you're the marketing
right.
person, you're the support staff, you're doing administrative work, and it can be
Mhm.
really overwhelming, but sometimes that's just what needs to happen at the beginning. But then as you grow, making those smart moves and following those marketing tips, as you grow, it can seem like, okay, I don't have enough time to do these, to work with the numbers and to measure what I'm doing and to write everything down in some sort of database or Excel spreadsheet. It can just be like, I don't need to do that. That's not important. I just need to grow in my practice and work on the files. But if you're
Right.
a business owner, then you really do need to treat your law firm like a business, and you
Yep.
need to start thinking like a business owner, and starting with metrics and measuring what you're doing can only benefit you in the long term.
Okay. That's great. I think that's such great advice. Erica, is there anything else today that you would like to share?
I think that we covered just about everything I
Good.
think I wanted to touch on. Is there anything else that you'd like to know about or ask me
No, I think
about?
I think everything you're doing is really good for the people. I enjoyed your videos. I thought that I know I brought that up like 100 times, but I just think it really shows a genuine side, and because I think you had some personal things that happened in your life that sort of like led you to where you are and what you're doing. And for me, I always think that that's really unique and interesting with lawyers. So, um, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you. I so appreciate that. And I really enjoy watching all of the stories and just getting inspired by the attorneys, and what you're doing is phenomenal. And you've got a lot
Oh,
of growth too. So
thank you.
maybe I can do a podcast with you and get some tips from you for all of our
Love
network.
that. I love that. Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff coming that we're working on, but I do appreciate that. So stay right there. Uh, Everybody, wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.